I know the dread you feel when you look at your to-do list. You are overwhelmed. You feel overworked. You're even beginning to question if the things you are doing every day are worth the trouble. There's a ton of work you've given yourself, or rather, you've prompted to give to yourself as an online business coach, a podcaster, content creator, consultant, or digital marketer. This is how you are getting swamped with tasks. But the good news is you can swim in a swamp. Do you know that? It's going to be a tough swim, but it is possible. It's a very common sentiment that you feel overwhelmed with the scale of things you need to do to run your business, especially if you're having to do it all on your own. But I have newsflash for you. It's not just solo business owners who feel overwhelmed. Everyone feels it. The business owner who has mastered task delegation actually starts with a feeling of overwhelm. But get this, they're quicker to identify that feeling is only at the beginning. It actually goes away once the task is completed or once the item on the project list has been checked off. So you should be happy to know that feeling you're feeling right now, overworked, overwhelmed, exhausted from doing everything alone, that's only at the beginning if you do something about it. Now, before I continue, did you subscribe yet? No? No pressure, but you'll miss out on my happy dance whenever someone clicks the subscribe button. But anyway, you know what to do. And we're back. The next question is likely going to be, how do I do that? How do I get rid of overwhelm? Now, I used to feel the same myself, and it felt dreadful when you have little or no control over the situation because you only have two hands and there's like 1,000 things to do. So the one question I would ask myself when the feeling of overwhelm crept up upon seeing my to-do list, this is the question I ask myself. What is my next doable step? The key word here is doable. I try to identify from the task list which task I had immediate control over. Which of these can I do now in order to move the needle forward? And which one is of the highest priority to be resolved right away that I have control over? But wait, Lisa, how do we know which to pick as the next doable step? I can't even figure out my priorities, let alone figure out what my next step is. Okay, good follow-up point. The answer to that is dependent on what matters most to you. Yes, that's what I said. So to put it in an example, because we're in business, business runs on money, funds, cash, dollars. True, right? So let's start there. For most business owners, the measuring tool is money. So I equate the task, project, problem, or concern, etc., to its money equivalent. Then I ask, which of these will cost me the most in terms of dollars if I didn't act on it first? Alternatively, which of these will make me gain the most in terms of dollars if I acted on it first? And that's how I decide what my next doable step is. So let me give another measuring tool to answer what's my next doable step. So maybe instead of money, let's use time as a measuring tool. That brings me to ask, if any of these tasks were not done, which of them is going to cost me most time to solve? Alternatively, if any of these tasks were done, which of them is going to save the most time for me? So you get the idea now.
Yes.
Keep asking yourself this one question. What is my next doable step? Every time you feel overwhelmed running your business solo, ask yourself, what is my next doable step? Because I actually get you and what you're going through. If you're the leader, the CEO, the top brain in the business, there's no one else that does the same job as you. Your responsibility is creating the big picture and also implementing the big picture. But what we usually forget when we're in that position is that implementing the big picture doesn't mean you have to paint all the details in the picture. That's where building a team comes in most handy, because instead of doing everything yourself, you can delegate it to another person who can do a much quicker, much more efficient job than your overwhelmed self can. It's not always about fixating on the big picture, because we can zoom in on what we can accomplish right now within the next hour, perhaps. These are the small actionable tasks that will inch you closer to your goals without overwhelming you. For everything else, see if those tasks can be assigned to your team members. In fact, you can train and groom one promising team member or virtual assistant to be the task delegator. Give that person the list of things to be done and tell them, can you assign these project components to the rest of the team and oversee that they are done correctly and on time? I bet your VA is just waiting for an opportunity to step up under your leadership. You see, virtual assistants, it's not uncommon for us to want to do more, to go the extra mile, to impress you as our client, boss, or employer. Any VA who wouldn't strive to make their client happy and going above and beyond the call of their duty, well, let's just say they won't be virtual assistants for long. The virtual assistant gig is not for everyone. A lot of solo virtual assistants survive the first few months, but their attention and dedication fade when they're not challenged anymore. So promoting one of your virtual assistants in your team is actually a good move.
Nice.
Ultimately, this will benefit you because you are no longer the one worrying about the tasks or projects getting done. That's not a job of your top VA. This system is very similar to the setup we have at 8.8, and it used to be that we dedicated one virtual assistant for every client, but it didn't work. The wide variety of tasks that had to be done for one single client couldn't be done by just one single virtual assistant. We had to change our system, otherwise we could not keep up with the growth of the client's businesses. Once we took the team formation, where several team members worked under the leadership of another more experienced and veteran virtual assistant, it was a game changer. Our clients only got consolidated reports on a given day or week, depending on their preference, instead of getting 100 reports from several freelancers or outsourced professionals or task doers. Another advantage is that the head VA for that one client became more and more familiar with the client's needs and preferences. So when a task was completed by one of our team members, they took it upon themselves to check their work before submitting the report to the client. The client didn't even know it, but they got themselves a quality check person and a team supervisor. Essentially, we cured the task overwhelm that our clients felt because we took care of checking off their to-do list for them. Mind you, in many of the to-do lists our clients shared with us, the majority of the tasks they listed didn't really need to be done by them personally. Some of those tasks could even be automated by an app, but they just didn't know it because they were too close to their work to realize. So the next time you feel dreadful about the long business to-do list you made for yourself, just ask, what is my next doable step? This should help you simplify your decision in scaling your business, because for everything else that you do not need to do yourself personally, I assure you, you can either eliminate the task, delegate it to your VA, or even automate it with an app. Just ask your virtual assistant. They'll know what to do with your task list. It's their job. Before you watch the next video that will help you delegate like a boss, give this a try. This is the 10 days to task freedom system that we created for overwhelmed solo business owners. This is free of charge. You do not have to pay anything to get access to this system. You can even get immediate access just by going to 8.8.net/freedom. Submit your info in the form and you're all set. So head over to 8.8.net/freedom and sign up. And just in case you have a friend or business colleague who is also overwhelmed with tasks as they grow their business, share this with them. 8.8.net/freedom so you too can sign up together. Subscribe before you go and see you in the next video.